It's Sunday night in the Magic City. Good evening to you. I think it was the great philosopher James Brown who said, "I don't know karate, but I know crazy." And that's the only way to describe Saturday's epic finish at the Iron Bowl. Ariel Schaefer chops up this instant classic on the plains. Brian, has anybody else ever ridden along and done a live report with you before?
I think CBS 42 is the first. This is a first at Talladega Superspeedway. At least for me it is.
Well, we made history earlier this week with Ben Hoover's great pitching. Now we're making it once again live on the track here at Talladega. I'm Dee Jackson. We will send it back in the studio to you, and I'm holding on for dear life. Let's get some run! I know you don't give free pitching lessons, but I need a favor.
Okay.
Ben Hoover is going to be throwing out the first pitch on Jackie Robinson night, Channel 42 night at Regents Field. I think he's a little worried about the arm. Can you just give him some advice and tell him what he needs to do to make a great first pitch for that game? Thank you, Ariel. Over at Legacy Arena, your Birmingham Squadron taking on the Memphis Hustle Squadron, playing a bit of catch-up third quarter. Darian Seabrunt making the moves, high off the glass, cuts the Memphis lead. On the other end of the floor, Jalen Crutcher picking pockets, going Maine to Mexico or coast to coast to you and me. Seabron back at it once again, taking you back to the backyard. Squad puts it up. He puts up a fight, but it's not good enough this Sunday evening. 129 to 112. Memphis wins it. Squadron falls to 4-2 on the year. That's going to do it for your look at sports. Laura, the time is yours. Where you can feel the unmistakable spirit of Louisville's most celebrated son. Well, it is Tuesday night in the Magic City. Good evening to you. You know, I really didn't think I was going to have to come to work today, but then somebody told me Michael Jackson's birthday is not a company holiday, so sports won't stop till you get enough. Got to tell you what happened over in Tuscaloosa because it was like a holiday for the Tide. Well, 43,893 fans packed Truist Park on Monday night, a new single-game record. And they had a chance to see a little bit of magic for the Braves, although it didn't start that way. Where the ghost of baseball's past never shy away from a challenge. Well, Trojan fans, we're holding a spot for you downtown. The Birmingham Bowl is back, and it features the men of Troy taking off Randolph and Mortimer, or more commonly called Duke University. They weren't the originally scheduled opponents, however. The Blue Devils are trading places with Georgia Tech, who opted out of the game to play Central Florida. It all goes down December 23rd at Protective Stadium. I guarantee you that may have gone over a lot of people's heads, but I know somebody out there caught those references. Thank you so much, TK. Happy to report that the race is over. Jeb Burton takes the checkered flag. He'll be coming here to Victory Lane in just a few moments. And I can understand just how important it is to get that view around the track and how important it is to come to Victory Lane, because I had an opportunity for a ride of a lifetime. And I want to take you along for the ride. It's one of those magical times of the college football season. Two rivals that get so amped up for college football and leave it all on the field. Both teams with one loss each, but trying to hammer away at conference play. To Tuscaloosa we go. A second showing. It's hard to get back to the state championship. And last year, if you saw our broadcast, you know, we had the big unveil that, you know, his dad, my dad are brothers, so hence the same surname. And of course, you know, grandma used to say one's going to be devilishly handsome and the other one's going to learn how to pronounce sports on TV. So we'll figure out which is which. You know, every player that comes to Alabama and Auburn dreams of playing in the Iron Bowl, but some of those players are fortunate enough to go on to the pros, and then there's one other goal: to play in the Super Bowl. Well, CBS 42 news anchor Sherry Jackson caught up with two players who compare and contrast what it means to play in the biggest college game and the biggest pro game of the year. Well, the new college football playoff rankings are out, and Georgia jumps Ohio State as the #1 team in this week's CFP. Buckeyes drop to #2. Michigan stays at 3, and Florida State is in at 4. Alabama remains at #8. Well, it is Tuesday night in the Magic City. Good evening to you. Final home game of the season is just days away for Sanford. UT Martin, you are now on the clock. Sanford, however, wants to finish the season strong with a win for a special group of seniors.
Well, it'd be big because, you know, we're fighting for a lot this week. Number one, we're fighting for pride. You know, any competitor, they want to win anytime they step on the field, and I think we got a lot of guys that have great pride in their play and great pride in being on this football team and representing Sanford University. And then, the other thing we're fighting for is to have a winning record.
Alabama basketball taking on South Alabama at Coleman Coliseum tonight. Tide shot lights out from the floor against the Jags, shooting 62%. Mark Sears led the way with 17 points as the Tide rose to a 102-46 win. Over at the Pete Hanna Center, all my old school people, I'm taking you back to the 90s. Mississippi College at Sanford, Dogs adding to their lead. Achor. So nice they named him twice, the give and go, and he had 17 points on the night. Time to break out the Holloway wish list, like Josh Holloway. Wish he was a little bit taller, wish I was a baller, wish I had a girl who looked good. I would call her. Sanford wins 96-52, 15 players scoring tonight. Bulldogs pick up the first win of the season. Back in action, South Carolina State on Friday. Jack State on the road taking on West Virginia in Morgantown. Kiki Tandy scoring the team high 18 points, with the Mountaineers beating Jack State 70-57, falling to 1-2 on the season. They'll take on North Alabama on the road Saturday night. And that's going to do it for your look at sports. More news in just a moment. It really is hard to believe, Sherry. It's been 25 years since the Iron Bowl was played in Birmingham. In fact, none of the players on either squad were born the last time these two played in the Magic City. But for several diehard fans, those memories of the last true Iron Bowl are still fresh on their minds.
It's at the 10. It is battled around. Knockdown. Bama wins.
The Old Gray Lady, the football capital of the South. Birmingham's Legion Field has been a major part of the Alabama and Auburn football legacy, unleashing the ghost of Iron Bowl's past. And from 1948 to 1988, the iconic structure constantly provided one of the most unique fan experiences in college football.
The biggest thing that I saw is how the stadium was cut in half. It was half Auburn, half Alabama.
And on every play, half of the people in the stadiums were happy and the other half were not happy.
But Auburn had other plans, and in 1989, after years of preparations and expansions to Jordan-Hare Stadium, Coach Pat Dye finally got his wish to move the game to Auburn in odd-numbered years when the Tigers served as home team. But it would take another decade before the Tide followed suit, moving the game to Bryant-Denny Stadium for the first time in the year 2000. So in 1998, the adrenaline was pumping for both teams, despite it being a down year. Neither ranked, and 11 losses between the two schools. But this rivalry brings out something different in everybody.
Coach DeRose is, first of all, just brilliant. Brilliant defensive coach. He was the most calmest I've ever seen him for the regular season game. Well, then we played against Auburn. Intense. We murder them. They ain't gonna have no yards. No, you know what I mean? I was like, oh snap, here we go.
Hernandez after that walk. And there's another.
Before he was belting homers in the big leagues, current Auburn baseball assistant coach Gabe Gross was calling signals as the Tigers quarterback.
I remember coming out before the game and the stadium almost being sold out. And Alabama was a much better team than we were that year, but they weren't great. I think they were maybe a 7 or 8 win team coming into that game, and we were a 3-win team, and it didn't matter. The energy in the stadium was unbelievable.
The Tigers jumped out to a great start, up by 17 at the half. But Alabama coach Mike DuBose reminded his team what was at stake during the break.
So everybody and the players, the coach, and everybody are going to raise their game to a different level. It's a special game, and it's a special game because it's been played by special people for so many years.
And the defense answered the call, keeping the Tigers out of the end zone for the rest of the day. And Sean Alexander would steal the show with a pair of touchdowns on Alabama's biggest stage.
And I run through the hole. They don't. I run like a little jet. Zal dumps me the ball. I cut back, come across the field, and dive in the end zone for a touchdown. I was like, did we just knock these boys out this quick? And the whole, everybody was going nuts. It was crazy to have a game like that, knowing it was going to be the last one at Legion Field.
A storybook ending for the Tide, winning 31-17. The close of the final chapter for one of Birmingham's most celebrated sporting events. as the old gray lady said her final goodbye after 50 years. And for Mike DuBose, the former player, assistant, and head coach for Alabama, it was a fitting end to one of the most important eras in Iron Bowl history.
What do you remember about being carried off the field in that 98 Iron Bowl?
Oh, you just sort of, you go back and you look at the pictures of it, and you see a smile on your face that you don't see in other situations and other experiences there. And it's because, again, it's just something special. You know that you're a part of something special.
And while the game is no longer played in Birmingham, it's those lasting moments and iconic images that keep the Iron Bowl's rich and lasting legacy alive forever. Along the southern bank of the Ohio River lies a special place where you can feel the unmistakable spirit of Louisville's most celebrated son.
It's an amazing experience so far. We've just been here for a few minutes, but already the history and what Muhammad Ali accomplished and who he was has already had an impact on us.
Long after his 2016 passing, Ali remains one of the most recognizable faces and figures in the world. An athlete who changed more than just the game.
Taking 3.5 years of their prime, I'm going to stand up for a cause that I believe in. It really is unheard of, and it changed the face of the conversation around the civil rights movement, around the Vietnam War, and as well as athletes who could talk about more than just sports.
And talk he did, but not just on politics, religion, or civil rights. In January 1981, Ali actually talked a distraught man out of jumping from a 9-story ledge in Los Angeles.
I think everyone knows Muhammad was the greatest of all time in boxing. I think fewer people know his immense humanitarian impact around the world.
Of the thousands of artifacts housed at the Ali Center, there are 2 that are worth a small fortune. A robe gifted to Ali by the king of rock and roll himself, bedazzled in all of its 1970s glory. And the other, well, only our cameras were allowed to see. Other than the robe given to Ali by Elvis Presley back in 1973, this 1977 Rolls Royce is a symbol of great opulence and the legacy of the champ, and it's off limits to the public here at the museum, but it symbolizes one thing: the elegance, the character, and the goodwill of Muhammad Ali, the greatest of all time.